Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another rapid fire review session for you. Pew pew. I'm sorry about the pew pews. I started it. It's my fault. Some of you guys said you like it. Now I'm going to keep doing it, and it's going to be a bad thing for everyone involved. So I do apologize. But how these work? Sometimes I take a group of knives, and instead of doing the full long reviews on them, I'll just do short versions, and we'll do a bunch at once. Today, we kind of have a theme: some Civivis and some Sencuts. They are all part of the Civivi Sencut triumvirate. They sent me a bunch of knives a couple weeks ago, and these ones need to get done and get out of here because they're all either going to new owners or most of them to other reviewers. So I want to make sure that people get a chance to check them out. And I didn't want to make this a month and a half long of Civivi reviews on the channel. So let's get going. We'll move some of these aside and we'll start out with the first one. First up, we have the Keen Natter. I always have to look at the name on this one. I have a hard time remembering. The next Civivi, too, I have a hard time remembering the name of that. I don't know why. They just don't roll off the tongue. But the Natter is kind of a departure. Actually, it's quite a departure for Civivi in several ways. First of all, this blade, primarily this blade, it is a kind of recurve tanto compound grind, which they don't do very often. And it is also Badlands 690, which I don't think they've ever done before. Kind of a unique steel for them. A pretty common steel in European-made knives. A lot of the Italian budget knives use that. But and also a little bit thicker blade stock than usual. 0.15. You don't see that very often on Civivi. So it's usually 0.12. I think everything else you're going to see here is 0.12, as a matter of fact. So a bit of a different change for them. Also a pretty good sized knife. I do like the overall look of it. It's definitely unique. It definitely doesn't fit with the Civivi design language that they've been doing so much lately. It does in some ways, but most ways it really doesn't. I know a lot of guys get a lot of comments saying, all these Civivis look the same. Yeah, it's a design language. You know, all Audis look the same. Most Porsches look the same. It's just companies develop a design language. I don't really have an issue with it. But anyway, this is quite a departure for them. It is kind of a unique knife. You're looking at $73.95 for these micarta versions, which this is the olive. There is also a tan, and there's a black G10 for $72.95. And again, you're getting Badlands 690 steel and all the usual Civivi goodness as far as, you know, ceramic ball bearings, all that kind of stuff. Nice deep carry pocket clip. Not recessed on this one, but the screws are. So that's not half bad. It is right hand, left hand, and a pretty unobtrusively done way to do it too. So no issues with that. I think it's a pretty good looking knife overall. Definitely different, but I think it looks pretty good. Let's do some specs here. You have a blade length of 3.5 inches, overall length of 8.25 inches. Blade thickness, as I said, 0.51 inches, or sorry, 0.15 inches. Handle thickness, 0.51 inches. I got momentarily dyslexic there. And a weight of 3.7 ounces. A little bit over that ounce per inch, but not too bad. And this is a pretty thick blade for them, so not too wound up about that. Talk more about this blade. 18 thousandths behind the edge, and that is both on the recurve and on the tanto portion. So that's good. A lot of people don't like recurves because they're afraid of sharpening them. I don't think this one's going to be a problem at all. I don't think any of your sharpening systems are going to have a hard time dealing with that mild of a recurve. And a lot of people are afraid of sharpening tantos, but this is not. It's kind of a almost non-committal sort of tanto. There's not a hugely sharp edge down right here, so I don't think that's going to be a big deal. You're probably going to round it off a little bit sharpening it, but it wasn't that much there to begin with, so I really wouldn't stress out too much about it. I don't think it's going to be too much of a nightmare to sharpen. Thumb stud might get in the way, and it is not removable, so there's that. But other than that, I don't really see much of a problem sharpening this thing. It is, like I said, 18 thousandths behind the edge and 0.15 inches thick. It slices pretty good. It's not like the best thing in the world, but it's not bad. It does have a pretty good tip on it, though. Pretty good for piercing stuff. Yeah, I like the blade overall. It's a bit of a big change, and it's kind of asking a lot. It's a tanto, it's a compound grind, and a recurve. Lots of people hate one of those things, so it's a big ask. I will say that. Ergonomically, it's okay. Pocket clip, you can definitely feel it for sure, but it's not like a hot spot or anything. You can just feel that it's there. That's not what really winds me up about this ergonomically. It's kind of take a bit of an explanation for it. This is pretty, a pretty, thick, big blade. Recurve, you're doing lots of long cuts on recurves. They're great for cutting through like long cuts of cardboard and stuff. The handle just doesn't fit it. I mean, it fits it. Obviously, it's packaged very well. It fits in there very well. But I mean, personality-wise, just I want a more hand-filling handle on this blade. This is very, very short in this dimension, and it is a bit wider than some Civivis are, but not by much. And I don't know, it just doesn't fill my hand enough for this kind of blade. If it was a thinner, daintier blade that you're not doing, more hardcore stuff on, I would probably be fine with it. But I just don't think it fits the personality. I think it should be, like a 16th inch bigger, like right here, or an 1/8 maybe even. Just a little bit more, just to fill my hand a bit more to go with this kind of hardcore blade. That's really my biggest complaint. Action-wise, it's a Civivi. It's great. It's probably the best of the ones you're going to see here because the blade's the heaviest. So it falls shut extremely easy. Yeah, definitely no issues there. D10's perfect. You do have thumb studs as well, so thumb stud and flipper. I like having multiple deployment. And this one, even you can spidey flick it from the little fuller on there very easily. So yeah, very fun to fidget with. Looks cool. Wish the handle was bigger. No issues with the price though. And the N690 steel, we'll have to see. But I've had no issues with N690 in the past. I've had no issues with Civivi's heat treatment in the past. So from those two data points, I assume this is probably gonna be pretty good. All right, next up, we have another one that I always have to look at the name of. The Civivi Badlands Vagabond. If this handle looks familiar, it's because it looks a lot like a Dogma. Again, something I have I'm sorry, not a Dogma. I apologize. It looks a lot like the Ortis, which also looks kind of like a Dogma. I'll bring the Ortis out really quick. I'm not going to bring out lots of stuff for size comparison. But you can see, it's the same handle with a different blade. This one is 9CR18 MOV. It does come in several different colorways. It comes in green. This is a tan. It comes in blue, and it comes in black in this FRN, which is really nice FRN, by the way. And then also there is a Damascus and carbon version. This normal one is $39.95. The Damascus carbon is $89.95. So a big step up in price for that. Again, I like the overall look of it. I don't like the coated blade on this, but some of the other colorways don't have a coated blade, so I'm not going to go off too much about that. They all do still have the black thumb studs, though, same as I saw in the Pintail, which I didn't like that on them either. But, whatever. It's a personal choice thing. I said, FRN handles, they do a really good job, though. A lot of people turn their nose up at the FRN. This is really nice FRN. If you've ever held a Rat Model 1 or Rat Model 2, it kind of reminds me of that FRN, which is a compliment. It's very, very good FRN. And again, $40. 9CR18 MOV steel. I like that. All right, let's do some specs here. You have a blade length of 3 1/4 inches, overall length of 7.5 inches. Blade thickness, back to what we're used to seeing on Civivis, of 0.12 inches. Handle thickness, 0.4 inches. And a weight of dead on 3 ounces according to my scale. So this blade, very nice hollow grind. Again, 18 thousandths behind the edge seems to be a theme here, but very nice hollow grind. Slices extremely well. Razor sharp out of the box. I do have a lot of experience with Civivi's 9CR18 MOV, and I like it a lot, so no complaints there. It does have a bit of a finger choil that's really more of a generous sharpening choil, so it should be pretty easy to sharpen. You should be able to get past that thumb stud without too much issue. Yeah, great little slice and blade, very simple. This kind of drop point blade shape. Fairly dainty tip on it, but not extreme. I wouldn't worry about snapping it off if you're a normal person, but if you're a person who's has a penchant for stupidity, then yeah, you may be snapping that off. But I think normal use, it should be just fine. Yeah, great blade on it. No issues with that at all. Ergonomically also, cut and paste my comments from the Ortis. Again, it's the exact same handle, but the Ortis was my budget knife of the year for 2020. So obviously I like it quite a bit. You can feel that pocket clip a little bit, but not obtrusively so. I will say on this one, you have the recessed screws, and the pocket clip is mostly recessed, so it does slide in on the pocket extremely well. It is right hand, left hand, so it carries pretty well. Weight's good, and the ergos are good. And again, action-wise, it's a Civivi. I can barely Spidey flick it from the thumb studs, but you can, but I'm not very good at it. But yeah, thumb stud, flipper, multiple deployment methods. Always a positive in my book. You can Spidey flick the Ortis a little bit better because it has that cutout, but yeah, nice. It looks all right. If I have any complaints about it, it's kind of uninspiring in the looks. I don't mind that it has the same handle as the Ortis. That doesn't bother me a bit. I don't mind that it looks like a Civivi. It's just, I don't know, this one just doesn't, I like the look of the Ortis, but I just don't care as much about the look of this. I don't know if it's the coated blade that's throwing me off or whatever, but I just find the looks a bit uninspiring. But price is great. Absolutely. Yeah, same price as what the Ortis is, so it just depends on which blade you want at the end of the day. All right, next up, the Sencuts. I have done an unboxing of these, but I have not done reviews of them. We are going to start out with, turn the page on my notes, page 2. We start out with the Situs, if I'm saying this correctly. Very slim, kind of stabby looking knife. I don't mind the looks of it at all. It does look a lot like the Civivi Fracture, which was a limited edition thing they did as like a customer appreciation, a slip joint. My wife actually carries one of those. This looks a lot like it, but a flipper tab. Cool little side note about this one. This is the one that snuck out on Amazon. If you don't know about Sencut, they're available on Amazon and also Sencut.com. I'll put links to both down below where you can buy them. This one kind of snuck out on Amazon before we knew what Sencut was. Civivi and we hadn't made like an announcement or anything. So everybody's like, what's up with this knife? Is this some kind of, you know, Chinese copy of a Civivi? What's going on? Like, nobody knew what it was. Now we find out what it is. But it was kind of funny. This created a slight amount of hullabaloo when it just snuck out on Amazon and nobody knew what exactly it was. I like, as I said, I like the look of it. You're looking at 9CR18 MOV steel again. And it's a very slim, slender knife. It's not going to, it doesn't make any pretense of being anything heavy duty or anything like that. But this one is very, very, very wee Civivi looking. So, and no doubt what manufacturer made this one. Stats wise, we have a blade length of 3.3 inches, the smallest of the ones here. Overall length, 7.43 inches. Blade thickness, again, still back to the usual 0.12 inches. Handle thickness, 0.47 inches. And a weight of just 2.49 ounces, so not too shabby at all. Blade on it, yeah, again, pretty good. 18 thousandths behind the edge again. We're still, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I was off. This one is the one that's different. Used to say 18 thousandths. This one's the one, this one's 19 thousandths behind the edge. Big difference, whoa. Alert the constabulary, but no, it's just a little bit thicker behind the edge, but it still slices pretty well. Again, this is not a heavy-duty blade, and you can tell by that tip is pretty dainty. I'm not even going to make any qualifiers on that one. It's just got a pretty dainty tip. But it does cut pretty well. You do have this very large deployment hole if you're worried about stuff getting caught in it or whatever. You know, this is probably not the knife for you if you're worried about that kind of stuff. But ergonomically, despite the thin handle, see, this one works well. Where I said the Keen Natter did not exactly work well. This one works pretty well, but you can feel that pocket clip pretty significantly. This one might have done better actually without a deep carry clip. But other than that, it's pretty comfortable. And again, it's not like a huge hot spot. You just know it's there. And this is not a knife we're going to be doing, you know, we're going to be cutting it, you know, cardboard and wood and stuff all day long. This is just a kind of a slim, gentlemanly sort of looking knife. Perhaps not in this colorway. Which this is one of many. Again, this is the tan, there's a green, there's an orange, there's a blue, there's a burgundy, there's a black, and they're all, again, $39.99, so same price as the Civivi you saw earlier. You can see their prices are kind of overlapping a little bit. We'll see if that separates over the next year or so. I don't really know, because Sencut's meant to be kind of the sub-brand that is not available at knife dealers. It's only available on Amazon or direct from Sencut. That whole we're cutting out the middleman to, you know, save money thing. But it does carry extremely well. It's very narrow, nice deep carry clip, and deployment is, yeah, I like all these, pretty good. It's not as drop shutty as the others because it has the thinnest, smallest blade, so that's just gravity, but you can't spuddy flick it, thumb flick it, all those things. Yeah, it's a cool little knife. This one doesn't speak to me as the other two Sencut models. It doesn't speak to me as much as the other two Sencut models, but it's pretty good. I think a lot of people will like it. It's just not exactly my style, but $39.99 again, you know, can't argue with that price. And now lastly, we have the Civivi Axiom. This is the purple one with the black. There are other colorways. We have a burgundy, a black, a burgundy with a satin blade, a black with a satin blade, an all blacked out one, and then this purple. D2 on this one, which is fine. I'm just tired of D2. It's like, it's all right. I don't really mind. I have no like hatred against it. It's just, I don't know, I have D2 fatigue. There's so many D2 flippers coming out of China that you just kind of get tired of it. And I wish this one wasn't coated. I wish I could get the purple with the satin, but I may be very much in the minority on that because I really, really like purple, obviously. But yeah, I may be the minority on that. But $44.80, cannot argue with the price at all. And a lot of design aspects of this remind me of, and I'm going to bring it out here, probably still my favorite Civivi, the Backlash. One of the OGs, one of the first ones that came out. You can see it's basically a slightly different handle shape, and you have a thumb stud in addition to it, but a lot of stuff is definitely taken from the Backlash. It's kind of almost like an updated Backlash, but the Backlash is 9CR. This is D2. I'd rather it was 9CR, but I just find 9CR so much easier to sharpen, all that kind of stuff. But anyway, let's do some specs here. We have a blade length of 3.5 inches, overall length of 8 inches, blade thickness 0.12 again, handle thickness 0.48, weight of 3.9 ounces. So a little heavier than that ounce per inch, but not horribly so, but a bit more than the others. Blade wise, yeah, I mean, it still cuts great. There's no problem. Still hollow grind. Again, we're back to 18 thousandths behind the edge, which is perfectly fine. Some Civivis are even a little thinner than that 18, so I was kind of surprised all these were 18, but you know, it's still pretty thin, a lot thinner than most production knives are. Very slicey, reminds me a lot of the Backlash, as you'd expect. Tip on it, again, pretty dainty. The swedge makes it look a little more dainty than it is, but it's still pretty dainty. Don't do anything dumb with this. But pretty good slice and blade. It's fine. No issues there. As far as the ergonomics go, excellent. By far the best of this bunch. Again, reminds me of the Backlash, which is not an insult. Yeah, that is absolutely definitely a compliment. And nice jimping up here for your finger to land on. Good, generous forward finger choil. Can't really feel the pocket clip too badly. You can if you're choked back a little bit, but not too badly. If you're choked up, it pretty much disappears, and that's what this knife is, how you're meant to really be using it. Yeah, but you can get all 4 fingers choked back as well if you want to do that. Yeah, ergos on it are outstanding. Action is great. There's one thing it has over the Backlash. The Backlash just had the flipper tab. This one, you have the thumb studs as well. And pretty easy to reverse flick on the thumb stud. A lot easier than the previous one was. Yeah, great knife. And again, 44 bucks. Not too bad. And a lot of people do prefer D2 over the 9CR. They just have in their heads that it's a better steel. I disagree, but a lot of people do feel that way. So not knocking Civivi Sencut Triumvirate for coming out with one in D2, because a lot of people do read that as a more premium steel than 9CR, but 9CR is not 8CR. D2 is, I'd say, more premium steel over 8CR. I don't necessarily think that it is over 9CR. 9CR is pretty good stuff. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this, and I know you guys enjoy these rapid fire videos, so I have another batch of them coming up week after next, I do believe. I have a whole bunch of stuff coming in that other people have already reviewed to death that I just wanted to get my hands on, so I'm going to rapid fire review those ones for you. so as to not beat the proverbial dead horse. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've been Brian. Have a good one.